Good morning, everyone. We have one component remaining, that is Viva. Before we discuss about Viva, do we have anybody whose book review or public speaking or case study is pending in this lab? Is there anybody whose book review or public speaking or case study is pending? Okay, Anjan, you may start first reading out and telling us about your case study. Then we'll go to the Viva part.
Okay, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. My case study topic is a breach in security. Summary: NMK is a big company which provides database to a small websites. This database contains personal information of the users, which was provided by the user at login time. If the website is any e-commerce site, then the site database contain user banking details, which is very important. Also, these contain other details like user mobile number, address, etc. This data is highly secure in this company's database. This data is only accessible to the employee of this company. Employees are given a laptop when they are hired, which allows them to access the database remotely. Unfortunately, if one of these laptops is stolen and the security of database compressed, now user personal information is no more secure. Key issue: companies should have increased their database security because user data which was stored in database is very important. If this data breach, in that situation, user can't do anything. Recommendation: companies should provide unique password to their employees. By using only that password, laptop can be opened. Companies should monitor data and its transfer, encrypt device and data, set two-factor authentication, and provide limited access. Companies should have a data recovery plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjan. That was nicely done. Good initiatives and good kind of solutions provided to the problems that were there. And now, anybody else whose work is pending in any case, either the book review or the public speech or the case study? All right, I take it as everybody's work till now, whatever was assigned, has been completed. Right now, there is one component that is pending in our case, that is the Viva. Now, I think Viva is a component that you might have in other subjects as well. So instead of just leaving you on your own to decide and think about what you can do in the Viva, today I'll be discussing a few ways of dealing with Viva, keeping in mind our subject, ETC subject, right? What things are expected from you as a student? What do we want to know, etc. Right. So Viva voice is actually an oral test of what you have gone through in theories. Theories of learning the language, theories of learning communication, what we have done in our syllabus. Basically, like we have already taken this interviews, mock interviews, so you have an idea that the first thing that would come, whether it's an interview or a Viva, would be your introduction. Whether it's a interview or a Viva, it would be your introduction. But before that, you should have the greetings. All right. So greetings and introduction become an inevitable part of any Viva or any kind of an oral communication that we do. All right. So greetings, you know, introduction, you know, we need not discuss that much. Now, what could be the possible questions? I suggest if you have made a book for ETC as instructed from the very beginning of the semester, note down the things which I'm saying so that you can refer back to when we have the Viva. Right? You may note down, make small notes on your own that, okay, she asked this question and this is what is expected as an answer. Right? So let's start with it. After the greetings and the introduction, what could be asked? Okay, what could be asked? We're not sure it must be asked or it will be asked, what could be asked. Okay. So first thing that anybody would like to know is what kind of assignments you have done for the subject. And teachers have been giving you assignments. So we'll take reference of our subject only, and you may take help from this reference and prepare for other subjects as well. So the very first question that somebody can ask is, how many assignments have you done and which are they? All right. So in our case, we have done two assignments. Assignment number one was book review, and assignment number two was resume writing. Book review and resume writing. Now remember here, whosoever takes the viva, either me or somebody else, whosoever it is, the person already has an idea about it. Okay, the person who is going to take the viva, let's say if somebody else takes the viva, he or she has already gone through the syllabus, gone through the kinds of assignment you have done. They also have a sample with them. All right, how the assignment was done. If it's me, then I have already taught you. I've been with you through all the small milestones that we achieved throughout our learning sessions of etc, right? So book review. So what did you do in book review? You had to select a book prescribed in the syllabus. Remember, somebody might ask you to confuse, you selected a book on your own, wasn't there something in the syllabus? All right, some of us are there who have made a change in our books. All right, you have also made a change in the books that you selected. You can say, yes, we tried to procure books from the list in the syllabus, but as we were instructed to take a different book, everybody to take a different book, and we could not find this book online, uh, we, with the permission, have taken another book, but of the same kind or same genre, right? Motivational is what I have asked you to look for in books when you select a book, right? Okay, and then you tell the title, and then somebody asks, how is your book motivational? What motivation it gives? Remember, in our book review section, we have something called which part can you relate to in the book? What motivated you? Where do you think that you feel some of the things that the characters did you are also doing, or you have also done, or you are willing to do? All right, that's the part you can discuss over here. Now, what did we exactly do in the book review? We were first asked to hand read a book and handwrite the review according to a format that was given to you. Then you were asked to make a PowerPoint presentation and present it in your respective lab sessions. And present it in your respective lab sessions. Right? That's what you did in the book review. Now let's move to the next assignment, that is the resume writing. Did you just write your resume? No. We did two things over here as well. We wrote a cover letter and we also wrote a resume. Then the questioner may ask, why cover letter? Why not only resume? Right? Remember, resume is always accompanied by a cover letter, and a cover letter is accompanied by a resume when you have to post your resume to some place. All right, it's a part, they complement each other. All right, so what did you write? What's a cover letter? Can you explain what is a cover letter? So you explain that a cover letter is something which informs the company of your application to their post vacancy. It also helps you highlight your skills. It is, the structure of a cover letter is similar to any other business letter, but remember, this is very important, but a cover letter always ends with an enclosure. A cover letter always ends with an enclosure. Now here, to confuse you or to make the viva a little tough, the person may ask that, why enclosure? Enclosure is a supplementary part of a letter. It's not a hard and fast part of a letter. Why do you want to have an enclosure in the cover letter? Remember, always remember, be it any letter, wherever you have to attach something apart from what you have written in the letter as a part of a proof, or as a part of that letter which accompanies the letter, at that time enclosure becomes one of the mandatory parts of a letter. From a supplementary part, it becomes a mandatory part. Just give me a minute. So we're discussing cover letters. So remember a cover letter. In a cover letter, the supplementary element called the enclosure becomes a mandatory element, because every time when you write a cover letter, it will be accompanied by your resume. All right. I hope the reason I keep on asking you to note the things is when we actually have to perform, and if it is written in front of us, it is easier to recollect. All right. So I hope you are keeping a note of whatever I'm saying. The next thing that a person would ask you would be about your resume. So, what do you do in the resume? Remember to use the technical words that we have been practicing. Okay, wherever it is possible, use technical words, because whosoever takes the subject viva is has already taught the subject once, twice, or more, or is quite knowledgeable about different aspects of this subject. Right. So, in the resume, how do you arrange your educational qualification? Please do not say that you arrange it in reverse order. What's the word that we have been taught? The word is chronology. Okay, order order means chronology. That's the technical term for it, right? So you arrange educational qualification in reverse chronology. All right, that is the latest degree first, and then step by step moving down. Similarly, curricular activities, experience, etc., is also arranged in reverse chronology. All right. Then after the assignment part, what else did we do? Now, this was for the very first time that we have taken the entire semester online. Right? The entire semester for all subjects we have taken online. And for the very first time, we also has integrated a Coursera course, an online platform, and an online course for each subject was identified, and you were asked to do it. All of you have almost everybody in the class has done a Coursera course for ETC. So, what is the name of that course? Right? This could be a question that could come along. So, the name of the course was Communication Skills for Engineers, and into bracket it was written specialization. Communication Skills for Engineers, specialization. Why? Because it had three sub courses that you needed to complete in order to complete the entire course. So, which were the three sub courses? We have to name them, like oral communication for engineers, interpersonal communication for engineers, writing skills for engineers. All right. So, name the three. Now, out of curiosity or out of the need to know, because this is happening for the very first time. So, somebody would, as a questioner or an examiner, the person may ask, what did you learn out of the Coursera course? Remember, here we are not trying to ask you the syllabus. Whosoever has suggested you to do the course has already studied the syllabus. Whosoever suggested that you have to do this course for this subject has already studied the syllabus. We're not asking you the syllabus over here. What are we asking you is, what did you practically learn out of it? Let's say oral communication for engineers. Madam, I was very good. I'm very good in communication, oral communication. But I learned very nice tips and tricks. And one of the trick was, we do not want to have a generalized idea of what you did. We want to have specific ideas. Remember, everybody, when you have done a Coursera course, whether you, not only a Coursera course, but any course, if you do, even if you say we did not learn anything very boring, you would have learned something about it. You would have learned that a course should not be designed like this, or this course cannot attract youngsters. You learned a lesson there. A learning lesson is always there. And the examiner already knows what kind of learning lessons are there. Let's say some of us are very good with writing skills, but because of the course we took, we were able to upgrade ourselves. So I learned almost 10, 12 new words which were added to my vocabulary. Like, let's say there's a word called obsolete, something which is no longer in use. Or I learned a word like persistence. I knew the meaning, but I never knew that there is a word like this. These are few examples I'm giving from our own syllabus, but something you would have learned. What was that specifically? Right? We don't want to say that they made us write one assignment here, they made us do this here. We don't want that. We already know that. The syllabus has been well studied before the course was linked with our subject. All right. So here, when somebody asks, what was your learning out of the Coursera course? You are supposed to be specifically telling what you did. All right. Instead of saying, I did writing, I did oral skills, I did interpersonal skills, and that was it. Be a little specific. I remember whenever we have talked about little professional setups, we have talked about three stages: the before, the during, and after. This, what we are doing right now, is the before part. Okay, this is what you are supposed to be mentally prepared in your for the viva for this subject, as well as other subjects might also follow the same. All right. Then the next question that could come is, this was the very first time that we did such an online study. You did not meet the teacher. uh, Teacher did not meet you. You were not in a classroom. You were in your own comfort zone. Like, maybe some of us are lying in the bed, some of us sitting in our lounge chair on the sofa, or some of us on the study table. Variety is there. So how did you find this experience? Could be one of the questions, right? So here you cannot say, I found the experience to be very nice. Remember, a viva is not meant for one sentence answers. It is meant to develop a conversation. At everywhere, when we have talked in our syllabus, we have talked about avoiding situations where you just have a few words or a one or a two sentence to answer the question. You need to develop a dialogue, right? So here, the the purpose for asking this question is to develop a conversation. We really do not wish to know whether you were sitting on the sofa or on the dining table or on the study table, right? Willing to know how much can you speak, how much can you communicate. Remember, here the intention is not only knowing your vocabulary, your words, and your fluency in speaking, but the intention is also trying to look at your paralinguistic features. Remember unit 1: how fast you speak, how clear you are, how you take pauses, how you point out to specific things. All right. Whatever theory we have learnt is going to be put into practice in this Viva section that we have. All right. In this Viva section that we have, we expect you to put theory into practice. Right. Next thing that we can ask is, what kind of activities? 1 hour in the lecture session is fine. The teacher would take a lecture and have a few questions for you, and you would have answered the questions. What did you do in the lab? Other lab sessions, you might have practical things to do. How about the language lab, the lab sessions that you had for effective technical communication? So here you may discuss the topics that have been dealt with in the lab sessions, like book review, public speaking, group discussion, technical description, agenda writing, minutes of the meeting, letter writing, report writing, mock interviews, etc., etc. Right? What methods were used? You may say the methods that were used were, teachers used to show us PPT, there used to be samples, videos, quizzes, and then time given for us to prepare. We were split into groups, into pairs, and we did the activity, we performed on it, we did a group discussion on different topics. We're divided into different groups. All right, this is what you can say over there. The next thing that can be asked is, okay, you had a topic called public speaking. Assume your friend is about to give a public speech on the occasion of Navratri. I know it's a heartbreaking event this time about when you talk about Navratri, but it's coming, okay? It's approaching. So your friend is supposed to give a speech on Navratri, public speech. What would be your advice to him or her? Now here, this is practically it's a roundabout question for the in in substitute of a straightaway question is a question about the do's and don'ts of public speaking. Okay, here we asking you, we're asking a round and round question. Now remember the answer remains the same. It's the question that keeps on changing, and language is all a play of words. So here it's a play of word. So do not be frightened. Madam never told us how we will advise our friend. But madam has told you the do's and don'ts of public speaking. What do you do about it? So you arrange it. There's a introduction, there's a main structure or the main body, and then there's a conclusion that comes. So what will you advise to your friend? First, I'll advise my friend to do an audience analysis. Remember the 6 helping questions. Who is the audience, what is the age range, what is the gender, try and find out according to the age range and the gender and the number of people what could be a topic that they would love to listen to, right? This we have studied in the theory part, remember? All right, so this could be a way of asking a question so that we a person get confused that this is not a straightforward question. This is something which is a little roundabout, this is twisted, this is hard. It's not hard, it's the same thing but a different perspective. Then let's say another question that could be posed to you would be, you are supposed to give a public speech on a topic of your choice. How are you going to plan this speech? Now here the person does not want to know what are you going to actually write in the speech, but we wish to know the structure, the outline. So let's say I'm going to start with the let's say they tell me that the topic is, I'll take an example of a topic. People usually do not bind you in topics, so you can say, so let's say, sir, I have a topic called a topic called hard work or continuous learning. So you'll tell them that I'll start with the story of the tortoise and the hare. Though the tortoise was slow, he kept on moving, kept on thriving, and finally won the race. That's the story I want to tell. And in the main points, I'll be including different examples from different sectors, like uh, let's say from the computer sector, from the uh, a trade sector, from the education sector, about different people. And in conclusion, I'll say that uh, though every journey, a journey of 1,000 miles, though it begins with one step, but then you have to take step 2 3 4 as well to reach those 100 miles, 1,000 miles. All right, that's what I could say about continuous learning. This is the outline of the speech. Okay, we're not asking you to give the entire word by word speech. We're not asking you to do that. We're trying to see how you will arrange the information. Remember, in our lab sessions we have done it, right? When you selected your topic for public speech, I asked you to give an outline to me. So all these things that we have done is going to help you out in your viva. Next, another question that can be posed to you would be of a group discussion. So let's say you have qualified the written test for interview of a big company, let's say TCS, and now you are supposed to appear for your group discussion. What kind of preparation should you do as a candidate? So here again we are trying to ask you a practical question out of the theories that has been taught to you. What do you do in the group discussion? So you not only take care of your language but of your body language as well. Your tone should be proper, you should have positive body language, you should not have negative ones. You should not cut I'll be prepared with multiple points. I'll read the current affairs, I'll be updating myself with information of what is happening in and around, etc. is what you can speak. Here remember, you're not supposed to tell us what is going to be a word to word thing. in your group discussion, but what kind of preparation you do. Next, let's say the examiner would give you a topic. Say the current scenario, there's a pandemic. You as an engineer, what do you think about it? Here, because we cannot have time for everyone to sit together and group discuss, examiner want would might the examiner might want to know about your own opinions about it. Here again, the reason for asking such a question is trying to see how you arrange information, because there's a lot of information flowing in about this pandemic. There's an update every day. How much you are updated, how much information can you arrange within the given 2-3 minutes to you, right? Now next, they may also ask you the structure of a letter. So don't say that I'll write first this person's name and all that. Use the technical terms: receiver's address, date, inside address or the sender's address, the subject, the salutation, the main body of the letter, the complimentary clause, signature line, enclosures if any. All right. So there might be a question that how do you write the date? So you can say, you can write it either MMDDYY or DDMMYY. Moreover, because it is a technical or a business related document, we do not write dates in figures, we write date in full. Figures means 26/10/2020. We write 26th of October 2020. This is how you give an example to the examiner that this is how we write a date. See, that's one of the things that we need to remember in inevitably in any business document. You do not write the date in numbers. You have to write the date in full. All right. So these are the few kinds of questions that somebody can ask you. Now, one another important thing which comes to my mind when I look it from my side, the side of an examiner. Another question that somebody can ask you is, what are your suggestions for this subject? Did you find the subject interesting? Did you find the way it was taught interesting? Or what could have made the teaching of this subject more interesting? So here, remember, you are not given a chance to criticize your teachers or professors. Here, you are supposed to put your creative mind into working. Remember, we have got a topic called creative and critical thinking. Here, we are not taking your opinion, but we are trying to take your view about the situation. What different view do you have? Let's say, madam, our subject teacher was teaching only with PPT, very few videos. Not interesting. A lot of videos should be there. So this is an idea which everybody would be giving, and most of us do give the same idea. This is what the examiner would expect as an answer, but this is what you are not supposed to do. This is where we become little like the crowd. You are supposed to move away from the crowd. So what could you see? You can tell the examiner, this is one of the ideas which I have. You may find out your own, right? Whatever idea you have. So you could have told the examiner, or you can tell the examiner that lectures were nice. Few mixture or amalgamation, that's the word that we use, a technical term, a mixture of PPT, quiz, and video was there. But sir, it would be fun if there is this nice show that comes on television where there are groups of students, and uh, a rapid fire is there. You would love to have something like, if it would be a rapid fire would have been included in the quiz, would be a great idea. You just have 30 seconds for question one. The group that gives the answer first, the teacher would give some reward. Though it's not possible to give a chocolate or something, but we would like to have something deposited in our Paytm, or maybe a nice little flower bouquet coming up in our chat. Okay, that's a different way of perceiving the same quiz that we have done. Simple. I hope you are understanding my point about the Viva. All right. Next question that could be asked and can be asked is, so you're talking about tests and quizzes that you had in your lecture sessions. Was it regularly taken? So In our case, we have regularly done our quizzes and unit tests also. So how did it help you prepare for your examinations? So let's say, how did it prepare you? It prepared you by looking at the type of questions that are there. uh, Secondly, it helped you revise as well. You also had a little hold over how online exams go when they're MCQs. Some of the parts were missing, like the test and the quizzes that we had were not that much time bound. Okay, when there was some problem in internet and connectivity, etc., our teachers used to extend the time for the quiz, but it gave a good idea of how tests can be taken, what kind of questions can be asked, etc. Could be a few of the answers. You may explore more options from your side. All right. And lastly, remember feedback. Without feedback, the communication cycle or the conversation is not complete without the feedback. Right. So, how will somebody ask your feedback? Your feedback can be asked by asking you, what are your suggestions to improvise teaching of this subject? Did you find out that there could be something else that can be done to make the subject more interesting? So now you have a chance over here to explore. You have a chance over here to explore as many options that you might have thought of in your mind. Right? Let's say uh, the faculty gave us a Coursera course named this, but there's also one interesting course which I came across when I was doing this course that could have been included. It could be very nice. Right? Here, remember, we are not trying to change the syllabus. The syllabus has been designed by experts. It has been given to us by the university. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to see the syllabus from different perspectives. Right? Then again comes into picture our theory of creative and critical thinking. What do you as a person think about a particular course or a particular syllabus? What do you think could be new? Be it an online scenario, how did it work for you? How did it not work? Or what could have been done to involve you more? Had it been a classroom, was it better? Or it was it better on the online platform? All right. Your creative ideas about the situation. Remember, you are engineers. Engineers are inventors. Engineers are problem solvers. So here we are trying to search your problem solving abilities, how you look at a problem and how different kind of solutions you can provide, how different you are from the rest of the class. Right? This is what the Viva could be. Sorry. This is what the Viva could be all about. I hope I am clear. Do we have any doubts till now?
Clear, ma'am.
Clear. Okay. Now, see, this is not for this one session. Why I took it up a little early in this session is the reason is you have time to think what other questions could be there and what could be the possible answers, which we can discuss further in other lab sessions, right? So today, that's why I picked up the Viva part. Now, what we are going to do today, as I have seen, a few of you have completed your work, which was assigned to you, like the letter writing. A few of us have already written one or two letters. Some of us have not done it. So today, what we are going to do in our lab sessions, we are supposed to write a minimum of 3 letters. 3 letters everybody has to write, right? Let's say inquiry letter, order letter, and complaint letter. Right? These 3 letters we are supposed to write. I've already uploaded Excel file which has 3 sheets. Sheet number 1 is the instruction sheet. Sheet number 2 is the sheet which gives you helpful words, phrases that you can use. And sheet number 3 has your name and your question against it. Now remember, you're not supposed to handwrite it. We're practicing it. Seeing the scenario, we feel that let's practice it online. We need to practice the letter so that the more you practice, the better you remember the structure. And you don't have to go back to the theory part where we have to look at the structure. Yahan kya aayega? What will come here? Right? What subject should I write? What should I write in the subject line? That doubt should not be there. So today, what we are going to do is We're going to take up, we'll finishing this task of letter writing. We are supposed to do it. Now what you are supposed to do is, you already have a folder with your name in the letter, and at the end there's a folder called letters practice. Right, from the letters practice you are supposed to pick up the letters that are there. You are not supposed to handwrite it. You are supposed to have a Google document, add a new document, write inquiry letter in your folder only, then add another document, write order letter. See, I can see some of you have completed one or two letters. When I say inquiry letter, order letter, you are not supposed to rewrite it. Whatever you have completed is complete. Whatever is pending is what we are supposed to complete today. Today we are not supposed to handwrite and upload. Today we are supposed to draft it directly on Google folder, in with the help of a Google document. You're supposed to do it there only. All right, we're going to do all the three letters. So for one letter I'm going to give you 10 to 15 minutes of time. It's 10:20. By the time I finish my instructions, it should be 10:25. Right, so do not worry about that part. We need to finish it so that we practice it better. So whatever letter you have already finished and uploaded, you are not supposed to do it. You are supposed to only do the letters that you have not done or not completed. In total, each one of you should have three letters in your folder. All right, they could be either three different documents, or it could be one document and three letters. Whatever is your choice is fine with me, but three letters should be complete. I'll be monitoring from here. That's why we have a Google shared folder. Right, I'm giving you time today to complete your letters. Sample of different letters have already been uploaded. Sample of letters have already been uploaded. You may have a look at those samples. Everybody has their own question. Try and look at your own question and follow the question. In case there is a doubt, I'm here only, online only. Right, so you may always type an answer, doubt over here, and I'll be replying to your doubts. All right, so I'm giving you time to complete your letter writing. In between I'll be asking where you have reached. I'll also keep a watch on who is writing what. I already have it open in front of me. Right, like few of you have already completed your order letters, one or two of you have completed the inquiry letters. So the other two letters we need to complete in today's lab. Now in case there is somebody who has completed all the three letters, he or she can complete report writing. We also had a report writing, if you remember. Right, we also had report writing. I can see that most of you have done your reports as well. Right, so please see to it you have completed these two tasks, the letters and the report. Now you go back, you check. If somebody has completed the letters as well as the report, then you tell me, then I'll give you some work. I'll assign you the next task. Right, but there is task for everybody to do. We're supposed to practice writing, or we're supposed to practice what we have learned in theory in a practical form with the questions that are assigned to you. All right, so your time for writing these letters, completing the letters, is on. If you have any doubts, you may connect with me on the chat. I'm here only, online only, but I'm giving you time to complete your letters. I'm also keeping a watch on the same. All right, you may start working on your letters.
Ma'am,
Yes, Gaurav.
ma'am, if I'm not wrong, then we can upload the previous letters over there also.
Yes, if you have written something handwritten, you may upload it.
No, ma'am, we have drafted.
That's what I'm saying. You have drafted it and you want to upload it.
Yeah.
If you have already got something done with you, that you upload, you complete the uploading part, so that to me it becomes complete over here.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
And once you have done that, check the report part, and once that is done, kindly drop a message, so I'll assign you the other next task that we need to do.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Good to see that you are working on things. Once you finish one kind of letter, you need not wait for instruction from my side. You may move on to the next kind of letter. And once you are done with all the three, kindly drop a message so I can keep a watch on that as well. Good. I see most of you have completed all the works. The next step that we were supposed to take is writing a sample agenda of meeting and minutes of meeting. But today we don't have time for the same, so let it be so. We will carry on with that same work in the next session. Just let me take the attendance so we can end on it. So attendance, enrollment number 47. 49, 50, 51, 53, 54, 56, 58, 65, 67, 68, 69, 72, 73, 82, 85, 89, 91, 96, 100, 101. I just tell the absent numbers once so that if somebody has missed, it's 47 and 67. And these are the two people who are absent. Kindly inform them and keep them updated about what we have been doing in the lab sessions, especially enrollment number 67 has been missing lectures since long, right? So kindly look into that. Fine. So with this, we end the session over here. In case you still have any questions, queries regarding how to deal with questions in Viva sessions for any subject, like I cannot tell you the theory of the subject, but I can tell you the words that we can frame to answer questions, right? If you have any such thing in mind, please keep a note on it. You can always drop a message or even call me at appropriate moments and get the answers for it. Fine. So we call it a day over here. Thank you, class. Have a nice day. Thank you.